But first, we go to Lebanon, which is struggling with multiple crises after last year's massive explosion in the capital, Beirut, which compounded political and economic woes. Many Lebanese are suffering, including those in the military, who are being forced to work for very little pay. Now they're finding unusual ways to raise money.
Captain Hassan Srour never thought it would come to this. A highly trained military pilot for more than a decade, he now spends part of his working day as a tour guide.
Because we're facing an economical crisis now in Lebanon, so the army wanted to lessen the impact of this crisis on the Lebanese citizens. The army now is seeking to be a productive army.
That means taking tourists on sightseeing joyrides. In normal times, he'd be using this chopper to train the next generation of pilots. But now the armed forces are trying to make some cash.
$150 gets you 15 minutes up here to see Lebanon from above. The money goes towards maintaining this fleet. Well, it doesn't seem like much. It comes in much needed fresh currency.
From above, the country is breathtaking, but on the ground, life now is hard. We've hidden this soldier's identity because he fears reprisals for speaking up. Lebanon's 2-year-old economic crisis has hurt people's incomes and everyday lives, but for many soldiers, it's also a test of loyalty.
I joined the army because I love my country and I wanted to secure my future. Now I force myself to get out of bed and arrive at my workplace all depressed. My wife asks me, "Why are you so angry?" I tell her life is unbearable.
Before the crisis, George earned the equivalent of around €800 a month. But chronic hyperinflation means he now takes home less than a tenth of that. So he has to spend all his spare time moonlighting, doing anything that will pay.
I'm constantly looking for work. I would collect garbage if I had to, just to survive with my family.
Now he just wants out of the army, but the policy is no one can leave. Some are doing it anyway. Across town, I meet infantry soldier Ali, not his real name, who's on the run.
I'm still not fully convinced of my decision. In the beginning, I didn't want to leave. But it's been 2 years in this situation. In this tough situation, I don't have the capacity to survive anymore. In the end, I have a family and this is a responsibility.
Ali made several official applications to leave, but each time he was rejected. So he says he had no choice and now fears for his life.
I'm sitting at home all anxious at the sounds of cars. I go to check to make sure no police or army cars are around to come catch me. If they do, I could go to jail. What mistake have I done to deserve that?
Just one of the many men and women in Lebanon who signed up to defend their country that now feel they're being left to fend for themselves.
Well, for more on this, let's bring in Heiko Wimmen. He heads the Lebanon office of the International Crisis Group and joins me now from Beirut. How much is Lebanon's economic crisis wrecking morale and also combat readiness of the military?
Well, I mean, I think the most important point in this report is the time that the person, the second soldier mentioned. It has been 2 years now into the crisis, and the collapse of the salaries now has lasted for more than 1 year. And, you know, like the army, the Lebanese army used to have, and maybe still have a good esprit de corps, but how long can that hold up? You know, a couple of months, maybe a year, and then what? And there has to be a perspective, there has to be a horizon, and right now, nobody can see it.
Normally, when so many soldiers in one country are struggling to make ends meet, in other countries that has previously led to military coups, is there a real threat for that in Lebanon?
So in Lebanon, I would think there is no real threat of a military coup. The Lebanese army is not an army that does coups. It's not an army that has this kind of separate identity from the state. It's a very state-centered, state-oriented army. And so that's one part of it. And the other part of it is that the way the Lebanese political system is organized, you cannot really just capture the head of government, occupy the country, rule the country. This is a country that is a mosaic in many ways, and also politically, in the sense that there are many power centers. And so just capturing the head of state or the seat of government will not get you anywhere.
So a military weak Lebanon also, what does that mean for the region's stability there? How important is the Lebanese military there?
So the Lebanese military was never a strong army in the conventional sense. But it has done a lot, and it has been doing too much, really, over the past 2 years to keep the country together. Because, I mean, the soldiers are not the only ones who are not getting salaries anymore. Nobody in the public sector earns more than them or much more than them. The budgets in the public sector are now worthless. And the army has done more and more to keep things going. So Lebanon, if this goes on like that, and if the army falls apart as well as the last pillar of the state that is still standing, the country is slowly falling apart. And that certainly is not good for regional stability at all.
Heiko Wimmen there with the International Crisis Group in Beirut. Thank you.
Thank you.